Welcome to the Chrissy Miles Show, and welcome to my very special guest, Dr. Dionne Arceneaux. Dr. D, say hi to the audience, please.
Hello, everybody. It's such a joy to be here, and especially with you, Lady Chrissy.
I am very glad to have you tonight on the Chrissy Miles Show live. This is a live edition of our show.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Hello to your live audience and hello to you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I wanted to just take an opportunity. I know you and I have known each other for a little while now, but I wanted to take an opportunity for our audience to get to know you. Of course, we're having our women's conference this spring in May, just a few more weeks from now. But tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into ministry? And, tell us your story.
Well, the short version is I've been in ministry in Mesa, Arizona since 1999. I've been an ordained pastor since 2005, and my journey has had a lot of winds and turns, and my background is trauma, domestic violence, abuse, self-destructive and others destructive behavior. And what I have come to learn and to understand is that you're never beyond the love of God to come and get you and reach you. And being in full-time ministry at Living Word is definitely not something that was on my list. I actually tried to avoid God as much as possible because I figured if I could just stay out of his way, he'd kind of stay out of mine, we'd be okay, and never even imagine that this would be my life.
That's amazing. And I appreciate you just kind of jumping in, right away to that, because sometimes people, maybe are a little bit ashamed of their past and they can't talk about these things. But it sounds like there's been a lot of healing that's happened to you over the years. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Has to begin with allowing God to really love you. And that's one of the things that I plan to share with your women when I come. I used to be very ashamed of my past and used to feel very guilty about my past, but once you really accept the forgiveness of God, you realize no one else has a heaven or hell to put you in, and your past is what it is, and your story makes you unique. My story is part of my power because what the enemy meant to destroy me, the Lord has used it to turn it into an incredible testimony and a ministry. So I'm not with my past. And I think the best part of anybody with a real story is that when God moves and when God changes you, you don't look anything like what you've been through.
I can totally relate to that. Sometimes I look back on my life as well, and I think, I'm not even really the same person that I once was. And obviously we know that the Lord changes us in our spirit realm, right? But just the emotional transformation that you go through, and, the way your thought processes, are different. What used to traumatize you, like you said before, you kind of look at it now like, I'm strong, like I can do this.
Yeah. And, when we look at just a tree, the strong trees, the ones that can endure, are the ones that have endured rain and storms and hard winds. And what that tree does is its roots go in deeper into the soil and anchor. Once you're anchored in the love of God and his forgiveness and his mercy and his grace, storms are going to come, winds are going to come, things are going to happen because we live in a fallen world. We have an enemy who absolutely hates us. And you just know that as I endure, I am being strengthened and I am being perfected.
I love that. We oftentimes invite women here locally from shelters to be able to come. We'll be doing that again this year for the conference. So actually, let me just roll a quick tape here for the conference for those people who maybe have not been familiar with it. This will be our 8th year of having women's conferences. So I'm going to roll that tape real quick for our audience, and we'll be right back.
Ladies, have you felt alone and isolated by the events of last year? Do you wish that life could return back to normal like before the pandemic? Have you observed the world and wondered, where do I go from here? Then join us May 14th and 15th in South Bend, Indiana for the Get More Out of Life Women's Conference. Now more than ever, faithful women must listen to the inner voice of God to find direction in unstable times. God's women must navigate the changing cultural tides like never before to provide sanctuaries for their families and tackle problems head-on before they start. When you attend the Get More conference, you'll become refocused on God's direction for your life with support from women like you. Joining us are guest speakers Chrissy Miles, Tina Conkin, and Dr. Dionne Arceneaux. Learn to experience an abundant life, even when the world seems to be falling apart. Reclaim your joy and passion and turn the corner towards a better future. Save the date, May 14th and 15th, South Bend, Indiana. Registration is now live. Visit ChristyMiles.com for more information.
So it's super exciting to be able to have you this year. Tell us a little bit about the women's ministry at your church, at Word of Life Church, I believe, in Mesa, Arizona.
So it's Living Word Bible Church in Mesa, Arizona. We have two women's ministries. We have a morning Bible study, and I run the Thursday night Bible study. And I love that you're bringing in women from homes or shelters or anywhere where women can come. Women, you need to come and get this. What we do at our women's ministry, I minister a lot to working women, to women who are juggling families and going to school or running businesses. And we're all focused on relationships and healing. God put us down here to learn how to get along together, and we really need each other. We're better together, but we don't always know that. And women are notorious for isolating themselves. And so my ministry seeks to build that and build those bridges to healthy relationships.
That's so good. Speaking of juggling, we affectionately call you Dr. D. So tell us a little bit about what brought you down that path in your life.
Well, what I found in ministry was that Pastor Dionne couldn't go everywhere. And I didn't like how that felt, that there are still churches that don't always recognize that we can preach, we can teach, we can lay hands on the sick. And it's biblical and it's scriptural. And so I really felt like after I got my bachelor's and my master's, the Lord was like, let's get your doctorate. I'm like, let's not, because I'm really not interested in writing or defending a dissertation. But what I have found since then is that God is strategic. He's a sneaky genius, because what really happened is the pulpits and places where Pastor Dionne cannot go, Dr. Dionne is welcome. So I have a doctorate in education with an emphasis in organizational behavior. And I do have a Bible college degree, but by having an academic degree, I'm allowed to teach at Grand Canyon University, which is a Christian university, and I can share my faith. I can talk about Jesus, but so many more doors have opened that I had no idea that that's what God would do with the academic side of my journey.
And you actually help run and facilitate the Bible college at your church, don't you?
I'm actually the director of our Bible college, and we focus on grace. We focus on the love of God and really understanding the word so that we can be a better witness. You know, when you witness something, you're able to tell people what you saw or what you experienced when you witness it. And our Bible college is positioned to equip people to be better witnesses for Jesus.
I love that. In fact, Pastor Lucas's book just came out. We got our first shipment today, and the title of it's called "The Christian Left: How Liberal Thought Has Hijacked the Church." And really, it's all about being a witness in this day and age, in this culture, standing up for the truth of the word. You know, it's not very popular these days. Do you guys face any of that kind of backlash in Arizona, where you're from?
We don't face a lot of backlash because we've been around for so long. We've existed since the late 80s, and we've been at our current church, which you had the pleasure of coming to see and experience. We've been there since 2001. So we've been known as a family church, a word and faith church. And we do get some flack, but it's definitely overwritten by how we do life and how we build the kingdom. It's all about love. It's all about empowerment and equipping.
I love that. I love that. That's great. And I think maybe if people don't remember, or maybe they're just now tuning in, you're actually serving pastors at your church. So you're a pastor, but you're serving the senior leaders at your church. In what capacity do you do that?
So I continue to serve our founding pastors. They have a ministry called The Word for Winners, and we also do the Grace Rewards Tour, where Dr. Tom Anderson and Dr. Maureen Anderson, we say we have this threefold approach where I teach you how to get free from your past. She teaches you how to live in the love of God and in his grace. And Dr. Tom teaches you how to embrace your future as far as stewardship goes. So I still serve them in that capacity. And now their sons are our lead pastors, and I serve them as a project manager and also as a pastor over a number of different ministries.
So an obvious question, and I love talking to you about this because I feel like people would ask us this question: how do you do so much? You're involved in so many things. How do you juggle it all?
I feel like this life goes by in a blink, and I gave the enemy way too many years of time. And I do believe God redeems the time. And I said, Lord, you just point me in the right way, and I will run. I will run hard with passion and with perseverance. I will point everyone I meet to you. And the plate continues to get full. And somehow, by his grace, it all works. It all works. I even have my own nonprofit. I have no idea how it all works. So I teach, I run a nonprofit. I have a development and training business. I help smaller churches with leadership development, and I serve my church. I have such an amazing life. I think when people learn how to love their lives and embrace the life that God gave them, there is time for everything. And I'm a mother of two young adults, 25 and 22, and there's time for all of it.
That's really awesome. And I'll just leave it there because I could ask you so many questions about that. But this is going to be just a great opportunity, I think, for people to come to the conference and ask those kinds of questions because, so many times we experience people that we're ministering to, they just get so overwhelmed and frustrated with really just the little things. And one of the things we like to do at our ministry is equip people to be able to really operate in the grace of God, the power of God unto salvation that gives you energy when you don't feel like you have any left to give. And so I love that testimony because it's just living proof that with God's grace, you can truly do all things through Christ who gives you strength.
Absolutely, you can. And there is an excitement to my life. And that's what I want to come and bring when I come there to share is be excited for your life. Don't dread your life. Don't look at your life from a negative perspective. Fix your mind, fix your mouth, and fix your brain to all align with the word of God. And I do guarantee it all lines up and it turns into a fabulous life that you can really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. I want to let people know real quickly where they can go and get tickets. So if you haven't registered yet for our event, you can go to ChristyMiles.com/events. And guess what? I did not do this the other night when I spoke with our other guest leader, teacher, Tina Conkin. But tonight, I am offering anybody who watches this live stream, look at this, special promo code. If you type in the word influencer, you'll get a 10% discount off your ticket price. And I want people to know too that we have 3 different options available. So we have a premium pass that'll get you kind of behind the stage, backstage, meeting the guest speakers at a really great event that we're having right before the conference starts. And then we'll have our general admission pass and then also a Zoom option. So for people who maybe at your audience, Dr. D, who can't actually travel, but they love to hear you speak, they can actually Zoom in the entire conference. So anybody who types in that promo code influencer for 10% off, you'll get that on all your tickets. And again, you can go to ChristyMiles.com/events and find out more there. Well, Dr. D, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today on the Christy Miles Show Live. Looking forward to having you this May in just a couple of weeks.
I'm very excited, and I would like to tell all the women watching, choose to invest in yourself because you're worth it. We all the time put ourselves on the back burner, but this is a conference where you're investing in your growth, in your development, in your healing. So say yes to yourself.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. D. We will see you in a few short weeks. And thank you all for watching this week on the Christy Miles Show, where I teach you how to get more out of life.